And you've been in the Arab world for quite some time, before the revolution, after, and some people will come up, or scholars even, and justify, well, not justify, but denounce the revolution or the protest, saying it's not part of the Sunnah, not part of Hadith. And there's a few Hadiths I read one about the rulers whipping your backs. I'm not sure to continue. Maybe you could.
There's many. I mean, the main Hadiths are in Kitab al-Bukhari and Kitab al-Ahkam and Sunnah, Sahih Muslim and Kitab al-Imara. But I mean, I think that these Hadiths, it says, don't rebel against the ruler, right? Don't engage in armed resistance against the ruler, which is fine until the ruler becomes non-Muslim, until you see explicit, egregious kufr from the ruler. Which in the case of Gaddafi has been the case for 30 years. I mean, he was declared an apostate in the 1980s by many scholars. So he's not. I mean, many scholars would consider him not to be a Muslim anyway, which is kufr bawah. In which case one is allowed to do.
So it will differ than Egypt.
Yeah, Egypt. I mean, Egypt is not. I mean, this is when you go. In my personal opinion, right? If someone, there's famous hadith, afdalu jihad, afdalu jihad. Kalimat haq and the sultan ja'ir, right? The best of jihad is the speaking word of truth before it, a tyrant. And that's what these people in Egypt were doing. They went out of the Tahrir Square and they just said, we're not armed, we're not rebelling, we're not destroying anything. We simply are saying a kalimat haq, which is you are a bad ruler. You've been here for 30 years, robbing us and taking our resources and denying us our rights and not allowing us to practice our religion. And we've had enough. And if the ruler then decides to oppress, to send in goons to kill you, what are you supposed to not defend yourself? It's your right to defend yourself, right? And so this protest, in my opinion, is kalimat haq and the sultan ja'ir. It's not khuruj, it's not rebellion. They weren't causing fitna. The fitna was coming from the protesters didn't go and loot movie theaters and banks. It's the government that removed the police from the street and allowed looting to happen. And that's the government's decision, not the protesters. That's my opinion. God knows best.
Inshallah. And I guess people in the West, what can we do? Just sit and watch? Dua is enough? Or
I mean,
do we make it aware to the people of the citizens that are in America, like us, that aren't too familiar with the situations there? What do we do as Muslim ummah that's supposed to be united, but far away from each other?
I mean, I think one thing you can do is send charity money to help people who have been either displaced or hurt or deprived of their belongings in Libya or in places like that. And that's one thing you can do. And then also, I mean, my opinion, the best thing we can do is just raise people's awareness, is to explain to people that these protests are not, except in Libya, which is
pretty gruesome.
I think we would this is a different case from Egypt or that Yemen or Syria. Say that look, Muslims are like Americans. They want to live in states where they have rights and where they their property and their honor and their lives are safeguarded, and where they can't simply be disappeared and tortured. And these are what these protests are about, and as Americans, it's something we should support. And we should not be supporting the regimes that are oppressing these people. And so, I mean, that's one of the things. I think one of the things we can do is just communicate to Americans that Muslims are not crazy boogeymen who yell and scream and these who are just monsters in the streets. That they actually are protesting for things that Americans would also find completely desirable.